Hello, my name is Gary Schotten. I'm with Inspiring Better Business, IBB Talks, and today we're going to talk about a case study on a travel guide in East Africa. I think you'll benefit from that even if you're not into being a travel guide. It's the principles of starting a business with many people involved. So first of all, I asked my friend George, who was interested in this, I said, well, how much experience do you have? And he says, well, I have 5 years experience working for someone else. I really know the business of traveling and taking small groups out on a boat or to the mountains or to see the animals, and so I know my business. I said, good, because a lot of people start and they don't have the experience needed on the technical side to do what they're doing. So let's talk about the business side. So the original quest came to me as if maybe I was going to invest in some vehicles like a taxi and maybe a boat, and so the things that you would normally take someone in East Africa that's visiting, maybe they're working there, maybe they're on a ministry trip and they want to go see some of the sites, and it's natural to have a travel guide, a tour guide. And so but you know, I didn't suggest that we start with a purchase of any hard assets like that. So the first thing that I suggested is that we secure some customers. And knowing that you've got a plan, so I'll work through this in just a few minutes, and so how would you get the customers? Well, first of all, I'm from another country. I'm in a foreign country in Africa. I have my friends, let's say there's 3 or 4 with me, and I'm really not that comfortable just saying, come over. I want to know what we're going to do. So you need to tell me what you're going to do. You can do that on a website so I can look it up and understand a little bit about it. It doesn't have to be extremely fancy to start with, because normally the customers you're going to get, you have some kind of connection with. They're kind of a friend. You're working with a church that's bringing in foreigners to help in a economic development way or in a humanitarian way, and these same people would like to see some animals. They'd like to go on maybe a one-day tour. So you've already got some connections, but most of the time, so it's not just somebody that you don't know anything at all about, but I still want to know, what are we going to do? How about a website? So you might contact, and this is my suggestion, is that contact someone within your own sphere of influence, your own peer group. Somebody in there knows of, or you have somebody that's starting out in designing websites. And you know, they'll need you as much as you need them. If you help them by saying, listen, I can't pay you right now, I can't ask you to develop a website, but you're going to get some great experience. You're going to get some exposure. I'm going to show your website to some people when they come to Africa. And then I'm going to let you make sure that on my website, the website for Travel Guide, you have a little advertisement that says website designed by, and you put your name there. And I'm also going to invite you over before the tours go over and introduce yourself and give out business cards, just basic things, so that you might solicit some business on future websites. I think people would buy in on that, somebody that's getting started just like you. Then you've got to learn how to take care of the customer. Well, the customer you're already used to that, you're ready for that, so you're going to find out what do they want to do. Do they want to go see some animals? Will that take a taxi? Will we need to go onto a lake nearby? Will that take a boat? And each one of those cases, I suggest there's somebody that already has a taxi. And they're going to be excited that you make a plan with them to say, listen, when I have a customer, I will use you to provide the taxi. Now, I need to look at your taxi. I need to look, taxi meaning a small bus. I need to know it looks clean and neat, got good tires. I want to make sure my customer's happy. But if you've got that, if I will give you a percentage of the sale if you will be available for me on a contract basis, just when I need you. That way I don't need to own my own taxi, because I'm not going to use it, but just when I have customers. And so the same thing with a boat, a canoe, some kind of a motorboat. You can connect with somebody that's going to be happy if you bring them customers and you make a deal, a written deal. And I suggest that you start that way. Well, how are you going to pay these people? You would call them like an associate, like the taxi, the vehicle owner is an associate of yours. And you're going to have a boat person, that's an associate. Maybe you got somebody that's good with bicycles, you're going to go bicycling someplace. The people that's got the bicycles. So ahead of time, you're going to agree to some kind of a percentage of the total sales that they're going to use in relation to what they ask to have. So if somebody wants a boat, you know a price that you're going to have from the boat owner. You're going to obviously mark that up pretty significantly, and then you can pay that boat owner a percentage, maybe 60-70% of what you receive for the section of having a boat ride. Or the same thing with having a taxi ride. You're the one that's in control. You're the one that needs to keep the customer happy. You're the one that has the kind of like the captain on the team. You're the one that's pulling the team together. So you deserve some of that money, but you've got to pay these other people fairly, or they won't stick with you. Every time you have a tour, then contact these same people, let them know they're coming, make sure they're ready, and then use them and pay them out of a percentage of your total sales. I've said that twice now. I'm not a person to pay a percentage of profit. It's too confusing. You don't want to reveal your profits. It's none of other people's business whether you make a profit or how much profit you make. I think that's something you ought to keep private to yourself. And at first few jobs you may not make anything because you've got a lot of expense getting started on the first one, even if you contract out all these other things. Well, there's one additional opportunity for sales. When you have people, and when you've got traffic, when you've got people coming that are using your services, think of what else might they want. You might take them over to Wendy's Tasty Crispy Chicken for dinner after the trip. Just suggest, hey, let's go over and meet here, or we have it arranged or something, and the customer pays more for that. And they only obviously get paid, the chicken company only gets paid if they buy chicken. You might have some associations with somebody that has trinkets or gifts or gift items like carved wood animals. I bought some of those the last time I was there. I want to buy that from somebody. I had to look for it. So you would have an association with somebody that's already doing that. So if you see what I'm talking about, you're going to be in business and you don't have a lot of overhead. You don't have a lot of fixed expenses. You are the one that's coordinating the other associates, and you're working together as a pool, and everybody gets paid only when and if you use their services related to where you've advertised on this tour. Now, be sure and pay them and be fair with them. Try to write it down so that you don't have guesswork whether this is what we agreed to. Well, I hope this helps. Now, you may not be in the travel business, but you can imagine that if you're in the baking business, well, you need a website. You need some way to get your customer. If you're in the hairstyle business, you can work with somebody else that is associated with something you're doing. And you can work together to create revenue, profit to get started. I hope this helps. Thanks for being a part of Inspiring Better Business. Thank you.